his only begotten Son, we must what? Present our bodies a living sacrifice. Also, before I get into it any further, call to serve. You must understand three things when you're called to serve. Who am I called to serve? That's number one. Who am I called to serve? Number two, when am I called to serve? When am I called to serve? Number two. Number three, where am I called to serve? Where am I called to serve? Let's look at number one. Who am I called to serve? Number one, I am called to serve God. Number one, I am called to serve God. Number two, I am called to serve my family. I am called to serve my family. Number three, I am called to serve my community. Number four, I am called to serve on my job, my workplace where I earn my income. I am called to serve on my job. Let's look at number one. I am called to God. We just looked at Romans 12:1 that goes along with being called to God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable, which is your reasonable service. In other words, we need to begin to purge ourselves. We need to begin to cleanse ourselves. We need to begin to get the junk out of our life. That means smoking cigarettes, drinking alcohol, watching pornography, gambling at the riverboat, buying lottery tickets, whatever it is, lying and cheating, stealing, uh, arguing with people, calling people out their name, talking about people behind their back. I mean, I could go on and on with the list. Overeating, overeating is a sin, you know what I'm saying? Because you're defiling the temple. You need to eat healthy, preserve your temple. So many things could go into this, but we are called to God to present our bodies a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable unto God, which is our reasonable service. Hallelujah. Let's look at verse 11. It says in chapter 12 of Romans, it says, not slothful in business, fervent in spirit, serving the Lord. Let's look at the Living Translation for 11. It says, never be lazy in your work. Stop being lazy, but serve the Lord with what? Enthusiastically. In other words, be excited about serving God. It's a privilege to serve God. That's why my slogan is always a pleasure to serve. Why? Because I get great joy in serving. I'm addicted to serving people. You know what I'm saying? Some people are addicted to alcohol. Some people are addicted to drugs. Well, I'm addicted to serving people. I get great joy out of seeing God's will being done in other people's lives. I get great joy from seeing people worship and serve God. That is the reason why we was created, to worship and serve God, to present our bodies a living sacrifice. This is the perfect will of God for each and every person's life in the earth. Hallelujah. To God be the glory. Okay, so that's serving God. Let's look at serving your family. Let's look at Genesis chapter 1, verses 27 through 28 of chapter 1 in Genesis. It says, so God created man in his image, and in the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them. And God blessed them, and God said unto them, be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. So God's commandment to man and woman was to do what? Take care of the earth. Just as simple as that. Take care of the earth, subdue it. In other words, take control over it. Make sure it doesn't fall into the wrong hands. Make sure it moves in the direction that God has planned for it to move in. So that was God's original instruction to the first man and woman. So God has not changed his mind. The same God that commanded Adam and Eve to take care of the earth and make sure it didn't fall into the right hands is the same God that's calling us today to do the exact same thing. It's so simple.